Hi, everybody. I'm James, and welcome back to Storytime with James. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. Okay, this one is called Gone for Something Stupid. Look, a long time ago, I worked at this restaurant, and I worked with this fellow named Doug. Now, Doug was an excellent worker. He was real good at what he do. Shoot, he trained me. Okay? Okay, he trained me. He was excellent worker, and all the customers used to come in, and they used to always ask for Doug and praise Doug for doing a good job and stuff like that. And Doug would eat all of that up, and he thought he couldn't be replaced. So one day, the department came in, the IT department, and they installed cameras all in there, everywhere, literally everywhere, except the bathrooms. But they installed a lot of cameras in there. So after that, because the boss had suspected somebody was stealing, because his revenue was down, and somebody was taking something. I don't know what he was talking about, but I didn't know. But hey, I know it wasn't me. And they wanted to catch him. So Doug came in the next day, and he was happy because he had just gotten a raise. Yeah, I congratulated him on getting his raise, and then I went on to work. Went on to work. So after about 7 hours, yeah, about 7 hours, like that, 7 or 8 hours of stuff, the boss called all of us in his office. So we were all talking on the way going there, like, and Doug was saying, "Hey man, Frank is in trouble, man. Hey, Frank in trouble." You know, and all of us, that you know, he told all of us that was losing revenue in the place, in the restaurant, a lot of revenue. And you know, Doug was sitting there with a smug look on his face and looking over at Frank, like he knew it wasn't him. Then the boss looked over at all of us one by one, and then he said, Doug. Doug said, "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." He said, "Okay, you can turn in your ID and turn in your keys because you're fired." And Doug couldn't believe it. He was shocked. He was like, what? And he told him straight out. He said, "Look, you stole peanuts today." What? Peanuts? Like, it was a little bag of peanuts like this. Like this. But turns out he had been stealing peanuts every day since he'd been working there. I don't know what was in these peanuts, but he had been taking the peanuts every day, taking little packs of peanuts and eating them. But I never saw him eating them. But apparently he didn't throw the wrappers in the garbage can. He put them in his locker. Yeah. So it was piles of it, and they added them all up, and it added up to $175 of revenue gone. So that was it. And Frank didn't take it too well. He started crying when he's taking the keys off. He was crying. He said, "Man, yeah, yeah, man, yeah, take the keys. Look, man, I'm sorry, man. Just suspend me and then let me come back." The boss told him, "No, no, no. So please leave." He kept telling him. That's all he kept saying. "Please leave." And Frank was crying and bawling and bawling and crying until they had to call the police. They called the popos on him. Yeah. And the popos came and they picked him up off the floor because he had dropped to his knees, grabbing on the boss's pants and stuff like that. I don't know what was wrong with him, but they locked him up, cuffed him up, and took him to jail. Yeah, man, like I'm telling you, man, it don't matter how good you are at your job, you can be replaced. Yes. And you could slip up too. Players mess up too. Okay? So you can be replaced. Because they replaced Frank. I mean Doug. They replaced Doug, quickly. You know. And Doug thought he couldn't be replaced. And the boss didn't sugarcoat nothing. He let everybody know what Doug had did. I don't know if he should have practiced some discretion about, not telling everybody about what happened and stuff like that, but he told everything. And then he told some of the customers too. Because the customers kept asking about Doug. And he told, hey, well, I had to let him go because he was stealing from me. He stole $175 worth of, revenue. Plus, he could have took more but I didn't. The only thing I found was the wrappers in his locker. So, I don't know. But, like I said, you can be replaced. And they would do it with no problem. So, some people that's boasting, that's walking around thinking that they can't be replaced and stuff like that, you can be replaced. All right, you guys. Make sure you like, subscribe, and leave me a comment if you like. And hit that bell notification. Hit that bell notification so that you know every time I drop another video. And share, share, share. Share my videos with your family. Share it with your friends. Share it with your loved ones. And even share it with your enemies. Adios.
Salamat po!